Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jerry Bees. I know the past several, reactions that we've done here on the channel have been either new releases that are pretty much pop, or they're kind of poppy, or at least they're popular, right? As far as 21 Pilots was concerned. We took a stab at Harry Styles. We listened to the new Taylor Swift record, the new Sabrina Carpenter record. But I think we all need a little change of pace right now, and to get to an album that I've really wanted to get to for a long time. And today we're going to, hopefully, if you all really enjoy it, start a new metal journey. And today we're going to start that off with Follow the Leader by Korn. So new metal is something that should have infiltrated my psyche a little bit easier than it did. I was born in the late 90s, right? You know, Korn, Limp Bizkit, System of a Down, Slipknot, and, you know, to a large extent, Linkin Park. Although I still don't think that Linkin Park is a new metal band, but I guess the first two albums are. But nonetheless, I never really gravitated towards that sound, and it took me a while to really even listen to metal. And, you know, Metallica broke that for me, and I think a lot of other people was really their first foray into metal, much harder sounding, rough around the edges kinds of music. And as I got older and went through high school, I kind of really looked down on a lot of new metal. Outside of Before I Forget, which was in Guitar Hero 3, the song by Slipknot, that's fantastic. But I really only like that one song, so I've never really given a proper dive into a lot of the new metal bands. Obviously, Limp Bizkit has a resurgence. They're more popular now than they ever have been. And a lot of these bands are going back out on tour or releasing new music. I know Korn's been out on the road here recently. And this album cover for Follow the Leader is very iconic. I have seen the Freak on a Leash music video. I saw that for the first time years ago. So that is the one song I'm familiar with on this record. Everything else should be new. So as I'm really excited to get into this, just as a reminder, please do let me know your thoughts on my thoughts as I go through this album. I might make an interpretation that's wrong and that you might have more context for, and I would love to hear what you have to say down in the comments. If you think that I should not have started with this Korn album and I really should have listened to the self-titled or another one of their later albums, or really any other album within kind of the new metal sphere, let me know down in the comments as well. If you want to catch any of these reactions live, make sure you click one of the links down in the description. And if you happen to miss any of these live streams or want to see any of my videos uncut before they come out on YouTube, go ahead and check out my Patreon, where you can get exactly that for $1. You know, I'm starting to think, right? Because inflation, the way that it is, that if I was doing this in 1998, I'd probably only be charging like 20 cents. Right, or whatever the inflation rate is. But I'm doing my best to keep prices low for you. A value at double the price, but I'll keep it at $1. So this is it. This is Follow the Leader. I believe this is their sophomore effort, but all the answers should be in front of us, so let's check that out just to make sure. No, this is their third album. So they had but here we have Korn, Follow the Leader. A little bit longer of an album, 14 songs, 1 hour, 7 minutes. But we don't shy away from that here at all. Let's get this show on the road. Ladies and gentlemen, enough chit-chat, enough talk, enough falderall. Here it is. It's on. The warbler. Is there a warbler? What is that sound? This time. Okay. Just try to pause it there, but it goes pretty seamlessly into Freak on a Leash, our next song. But let's talk about this one a little bit. Hey, how about that? I liked it. I thought that was pretty good. You know, I don't know if it's always been this accessible or I've just become more tolerant to like most of metal as the years have gone on. And I think both are kind of true because I never really pegged them for having like such a strong beat. And it's not a crazy beat to any degree, but it's a very infectious head bobby kind of beat, much like I'd hear in Limp Bizkit, just to kind of make a parallel to, you know, one of their contemporaries in that genre in that time period. And one of the things about nu metal that I think is kind of interesting and that kind of sets itself apart from other genres of metal is this lack of emphasis on the guitar solo. And I think Korn kind of set themselves with that, and I can only imagine with this being their third album. I don't know how much of that is true for the first two releases, but that's certainly the case here because, all the metal maybe before 94, you're thinking, oh, Kurt Hammett's just going to blow me away and just melt my face off, or Dave Mustaine's going to come in with like just this crazy solo or something like that, just to rattle off a couple big guitarists in the space. But that's it. Instead, what you get are just really fat tones and riffs that go so well over the beat. Now, I made that connection to Limp Bizkit because it's kind of jumpy. It's pretty fun. I remember being in the crowd watching Limp Bizkit. By the way, that was like the most obnoxious set I've ever seen when I went to go see Limp Bizkit. But Fred Durst brings this levity to the party because it's very much a party. There are some sad Limp Bizkit songs and stuff like that, but there is this levity to it. Even when it's sad, there's this little bit of snarkiness to it. And while here the vocals are a lot more sinister, especially towards the end when like his voice is cracking, and just saying it's on, right? So I'm excited to see where we go. And having heard Freak on a Leash before, I know they kind of experiment with some sounds, but like this like warble effect, because I don't think they're getting this off of like a turntable or anything. I don't think this is like a scratch effect, but like these little warbler sounds. Like, what the fuck is that? I could imagine, if you're used to like, metal from the 80s or even earlier 90s and you hear like a warbler sound, you're like, what the hell? It's giving chaotic, it's giving unsettling, even though that is something that's like kind of humorous, like why the hell is it there? But I think kind of adds to the tone so far. So we'll see where we go from here, and I think I know where we go from here. We got Freak on a Leash. Like I said, I've heard this one before, but now I'm looking at it in a much more kind of critical lens here, a little bit more analytical instead of just kind of jamming out or watching the music video. So we'll see where it gets us.
Let me be free. Can't I take away all this pain? I try to every night's place. Sometimes it's my life I can't taste. Sometimes I cannot feel my face. You'll never see me fall from grace. Something takes a part of me.
Is that the bass?
Feeling like
never caught that before. That was fantastic. The ending of that song was brilliant. Oh my goodness. Let's just take it from right here. There's this like weird creaking, clicking sound that's panning from channel to channel, which is outrageous. What the fuck? That right there is so good. I don't know if they slowed it down right there or they changed the tone of it, because it did sound a little bit different in the seconds before. So this is Freak on a Leash, right? I think it is really one of the defining songs of the era between all music. I think this really was like a cultural kind of event, you know, back when there were still music videos on MTV and all that, yada, 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 yada. One thing that I caught from this listen of this song, which, you know, I hadn't really appreciated before, is the composition. I think this composition's fantastic because, you know, there's movements within this song. There's multiple sections that kind of set themselves apart. That kind of seem like they're like individual songs, or they might belong in a different song. But by the end of it, they kind of bring it all back together, especially after all this shit going on here. Now, this is like the meme thing, right? If you don't know Korn, or if you've never listened to this song proper, you've probably heard. Right? And it was kind of, because for the longest, you know, this is like the one Korn song that I know. And so having listened to that first song, and like I said, it's giving sinister. So even though there might be some parallels to some more levity like we hear in Limp Bizkit, this is a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more sinister. And this kind of adds to that. This is this song's warbler as far as kind of inducing a little bit of chaos. I can't say I love this, but it is so distinct. And I think that there's some type of talent that you need to like do this. And this might be like one of those things where there might be like a funny story, like when they were writing the song or even like recording it, where they needed something to go on top of the guitar and he just started doing like some nonsense. Again, let me know. Is there precedent for quote da boom da da dum na e ma in other of Korn's music before this or even since? But this is by far the most popular example here. Yeah, I think the composition stands out to me more than anything else. Obviously, the riffs are fat as shit. The drop was perfect, but now I'm starting to really, really anticipate a lot of great production elements, and we've seen those so far. So, you know, the click sound kind of panning across the channels here, whatever that warbler sound was in the first song. I'm excited to see where else it goes, especially because, I mean, this is like their biggest song. So everything else here, you know, we might get some sleepers that I end up liking. I don't know. Oh! Okay, I've heard another Korn song. I didn't know if this one was going to be on this record or another one. I don't know the name of this song. Got the Life. So this is Got the Life. This would have figured there'd have been maybe some, you know, introductory soundscape to this, but no, this one just starts off like a rocket. Their bass is so low.
Something, sometime, some way, something kicked on the floor. Something inside I'll never ever follow. So give me something that I don't mind. I've already got the life. Oh, I say, God, thank mine. I'll never see the light. Who wants to see? God, don't.
That man was playing his hi-hat like his life fucking depended on it.
Each day I can feel it.
What is that?
Who wants to see?
So I'll be honest with you, this one was, you know, out of the three songs, the most repetitive. but the groove is impenetrable. The groove is impenetrable on this one. I wanted to mention it during Freak on a Leash, just how like low and chunky that bass sounded. It wasn't so much of like the bass tone, but like you could hear the bass strings like either vibrating off of the fretboard or even like the pickup itself. I don't know how you achieve that sound. And we got that sound towards the beginning of this song, but also like we get bass tones that are like real wide and meaty. And I just, God. And it's all just like so low, but not so low and loud that it blows everything else out. Who's my man's? Korn is credited as the producer on this, so I don't know if this was a Rick Rubin joint or what, but or they took care of everything. I don't know if it's a DY operation there over at the Korn headquarters. But really really enjoying how this has been produced thus far. I never took it as something that's like really accessible, and maybe if you don't listen to metal a lot, or like hard edge kind of music, you this is just all bleh to you, and I can see that, because if you don't listen to this shit or anything that has ever sounded like this before, you're like, I don't know why anybody in their right mind would listen to that. But goddamn, the groove on that, like, just the hi-hat is so loud, and he's just hitting it with every ounce of his fucking being for effectively almost 4 minutes straight. So like a little repetitive, but I mean, you saw me getting up and down. I'll be honest with you, haven't really been focusing on any of the lyrics. So if that's anything important, please do let me know. If there's anything important that I'm missing, or if there's any threads that kind of connect maybe the story of the album. I'm not getting it so far because I'm just really focusing on the newness of it all. I've been liking the production. Vocals are not my thing. It might be a case of the more you listen, the more you like his voice. I've been very impressed with it so far. He's doing a lot of different things with it. It's not very conventionally nice, even for metal, I would say, because if it's metal, you want the guy screaming at the top of his lungs, or right, or just like really low down, and that doesn't really seem to be the case for everything that he's doing here. He's really incorporating a lot of different techniques into what he's doing, and it's interesting to see it, because he's doing like the throat singing beatbox stuff, underneath some of the lyrics here in this one. And, I love that. I would love to get into that mind space of like, the song's almost done, but like, wait, what if I did rata 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 or something like that? You know what I mean? I shouldn't listen to this next song and be familiar with it. I should not be familiar with this next one. I do not think so. Let's see. Dead Bodies Everywhere. Well, that's just great. The bass. I love the bass. I love the bass so much.
Tell me what you need. Tell me what to be. What you want. Let me strip the plane. Let me not give in. Free me of your lies inside my heart. No dreams never at you. Make me feel like no one.
Oh, this is terrifying. This is terrifying. Sounds like I'm at the dentist. Why is it taking me so goddamn long to listen to this? like I always peg them for, you know, creating dark, heavy music with like traditional instruments. But as they are so much more complex at a production standpoint. Like even a composition standpoint as well. I mean, like these low like the attention they're paying to the bass. You know, this song says dead bodies everywhere. We are recording this 2 days before Halloween 2025. So if the gates of hell were to open and the end is near with dead bodies everywhere, this is like putting me in like the music equivalent of like hospice, especially the bass. I can't get over how all the different ways they're incorporating bass tones, and I'm assuming just like the bass guitar into these songs. It's really crazy. And so with that said, I know I just got done talking about how I hadn't really been clocking really any of the lyrics. You know, I can just like, this one just like gives, obviously, you know, I think this one's talking about hating your parents, right? Or, you know, being dealt a bad hands and blaming your parents on that, and they don't treat you well, but you really want them to be a good son. Why would you feel like I'm no one? Right? So they still have these expectations for you to be good, but don't really have the wherewithal to make that real emotional connection with you. I can just imagine like this song, like where's the one meme? I'll put it up in the video, but it's like all those kids like dressed up in like new metal, like black with like, you know, not like, they're not parachute pants, they're not cargo pants. But you know which one I'm talking about, right? You can connect a lot of chains to them, right? They got their hair spiked up. They got their nails painted. Nobody gets like, man, my parents get me things, but they don't get me. You know what I mean? Actually, when I was growing up, I knew a couple kids that, you know, I was like 5. They were probably like 12, 13, 14, right? Just older kids in the neighborhood. I guarantee you they were listening to this shit and thinking about this to their parents. Because like I'd go over and they'd be listening to heavy music that like really scared me, and I'm like, what's going on? Yeah, I think this one is really just chalks itself up to like, you know, emotionally stunted parents, like you say, which, you know, leaves you, you know, sometimes being an emotionally stunted person, but maybe this is a hindsight thing where maybe they figured out those lessons later on in life and are now ridiculing their parents for, you know, like, hey, like, you know, you could have kind of done a lot more during that time. But who knows if this is autobiographical or what else. But definitely got the string here. I also feel like a lot of these songs are just all going to be depressing and sad. Like, I just feel like metal's not for feeling good. It's about talking about war. It's about talking about pain, interior and exterior. Up next, a feature from War of the Worlds, Ice Cube's War of the Worlds.
Attention all parents.
Children of the Korn. Come on.
Report to your local church. Report to your local parents.
It was all about the pussy. If you can get it, a little girl like me never fucking liked it.
Bring your boys to the party, we can double up. Double rowdy, hardcore teenage. Fucking bitches made up. Catch me if you can. Fuck the law with my dick in my hand. We come to your car, class clown, already know I'm a star. The children of the Korn was born from your torn and twisted ass ways. Now you look amazed. I'm sitting in the days, in the purple haze. You better check my pulse, cause nothing seem to phase.
He said biatch.
For the kids, it won't be the kids, it won't be the kids. We talking shit cause life is a bitch. You know it is, everybody trying to get rich. Goddamn, all I wanna do is live. All I wanna do is live. All I wanna do. Stop fucking with me, bitch.
That was a lot. Here on the channel, we do paid reaction streams. We usually do those on Thursdays, so if you ever want to come check that out, please do. Link in the description. And we get some crazy songs there sometimes. You know, the novelty of a song. It could just be a novelty song, a comedy song to some degree. or just like misses the mark in the best ways, this will make it enjoyable. That's what's happened here. Every day you learn something new. And I've already kind of learned it. Again, they've proved themselves so far in this album to be quite funky and fun to dance around to it. And I can get why, people ate this up and still eat this up, right? But I didn't know that they did some rap rock. So I'd already brought up Limp Bizkit, probably the most notorious rap rockers around who have enjoyed the most success. I mean, let's just be real. But here, we got Ice Cube coming in on the track. And Ice Cube's doing everything that he can. Ice Cube understood the assignment, and I get the point of the song. I think it kind of stems from that last song. I think it's, the pressure we maybe put on the youth and the pressure that the youth put on each other, getting called names your entire life, or being an outcast, and this is dealing with those emotions. I get it, and that's fine. There were probably kids back in the day, and probably even still, right, who really resonated, like, oh my God, finally, like, I'm a freak, and somebody's making music for me here. I just thought that this, I hadn't really like come out of my shell or like really out of my comfort zone before this song, but this one definitely got me out of my comfort zone. Now, like, look, I'm not going to hate the song for its, like, uses of some words, right? You can chalk it to, sometimes you could talk to, well, it was a different time period. But, I mean, it's a conversation, I won't, apologize for every bad thing that anybody says. But there's a point to where you got to draw a line at, is it challenging, so therefore I don't want to listen to it, or is it really just ignorant? I don't think that this was ignorant. But it was making a song with a good message in just about the worst way. Fuck authority. Yeah, sometimes people have a hell of a time dealing with authority. So it's about getting even, but like, man, this was not my favorite collab. I think I will be honest, and I've loved everything up until this point. This might go down as one of the worst collabs that we've reacted to. And honestly, I a lot of the time I don't really make videos about like, oh, this is so bad, like, like, let's poke fun out of it. I don't how much fun I'd really have with that. But I think a lot of like the worst quote unquote tracks, or my least favorite tracks that we've listened to here on the channel, have all been features, which like, and also it's called Children of the Korn, which is so corny. It's stupid, which just adds to it too. B.B.K.
It's never a good trip for me. Every time I reach for love, it's taken away. Night, so I play. Give me a sign. This is gay. Give me some wrong with me. For once in my life, I'd like to be really set free. Let me be me. Night, so I play. Give me a sign. Take me away. Taking away.
Way to rebound, fellas. Way to rebound. He says, this is day. All I hear is this is gay. All I heard is this is gay. But this is gay in the sense that it made me happy because I liked this song. Way to rebound from Children of the Korn. I never want to listen to that shit again, although I might if I ever need a laugh. Oh yeah, this one was pretty good. It was, I'm very quickly learning how to listen to Korn. So whenever I listen to a new artist here on the channel, it might take me even a couple albums sometimes, if I'm doing like a series on them, to learn how to listen to them. You know, I think bands, if they don't completely change up their sound, are going in an entirely different direction. You know, you can kind of expect certain things out of them, and that's been the case here. Not so much Children of the Corn, but it's been allowing me to maybe focus on the lyrics a little bit more. So this one, obviously, not another great state of mind as we're dealing with some ideation here. Maybe because of all the things that we've seen so far. You know, maybe you got parents that neglect you, or you got stresses of like being bullied at school, and, you know, all these social pressures and everything else like that. You know, it's unfortunate, but, you know, it happens. You don't really have to think about it too hard for it to make sense. This one is like especially violent to me. Like there were parts of the song that were like just way too loud. Just like something about those just, I mean, it's giving chaos. I wouldn't say that it's bad. It is a lot. It's very overwhelming, and I do think that that is the point. I think metal, you know, I mean, fuck new metal, fuck thrash, fuck every little subgenre there is. I think metal is one of the best genres out there that conveys feeling and emotion with the sound, with like the sonic nature of metal gives foreboding, it gives brooding, it gives despair, and I think they're really utilizing a lot of that here. And, you know, that kind of goes without saying, but each band does it differently. You know, you think about like Fade to Black by Metallica, and just that scale and those chords that they use are just so sad and depressing. And that isn't even like a hard Metallica song. And, you know, hey, if you're going to write a sad song, put it in a minor key. That's kind of how it goes. But each song does it differently. This, like, they're not trying to create like this beautiful guitar sound and make it very melancholic. This, I mean, it's melancholic, but it's, please give me some place to rage, you know, to rid myself, to purge myself of this shit, because I myself cannot fucking take it anymore. Yeah, no, I've really been impressed with it thus far. I don't know what B.B.K means. What does B.B.K mean? Did I miss it? Pretty. Gonna be hard to listen to. Oh no.
I got some crime. Watch out, pretty face. Who do I feel sorry for? My soul away.
Man, what the fuck? This one wasn't even jumpy. There were parts of the song where I did like some of the composition and how it was progressing. For some reason, I can listen to the other shit just fine and like groove out with it. I feel like this one's either really personal or is like referencing something in the news. Traditionally here on the channel, I do not ask for answers for what the song is about. It's way more fun to listen to me get the interpretation of the song wrong, or it's usually never wrong just because it's my interpretation. But this one I am way more curious for. It's one thing because, like, hey, they're saying it's a real crime. Yeah, it really is. But they're just constantly reminding me of this bathroom floor scene. And again, it's, this is obviously pretty challenging, but you're hoping that there's some real meaning behind this, and there's some transcending that's going on with this commentary, and I'm just not quite sure what it is. So when I saw a baby, oh boy, okay, right, all right, yeah, so okay. Yep, I figured out what the meaning of the song was. You could probably see it there in the chat. If he was working in a coroner's office and was around death all the time and you have to see something like this, music does provide such a phenomenal avenue to hopefully transcend your reality, to make sense of it, to use music as an outlet for the shit in your life that you'd rather have not experienced. And if you make something beautiful out of it, or at least something that other people can relate to, I think, like I said, this one definitely probably a very personal connection here. I didn't need to hear the song to know that it was bad, but I mean, it's reminds me of Woody Harrelson's character in True Detective, and he ends up like opening up a security firm in his retirement because he retired because, I won't spoil it for you, but like, he was a detective for years, a homicide detective for years and years and years. But this one thing just made him quit and just lose all faith in humanity. And that's that reminds me of this. This song has never been performed live. Really, not a lot of people had bang into this one. He still has nightmares about it. Wouldn't you? Wouldn't any of us? So it like, you could talk about oversharing and shit like that, but at least it tracks, like, like the whole album's talking about really depressing and unfortunate circumstances, and this is one of them. So it's on brand, and it is challenging, but if the best thing that come out of it is we get a better understanding of another person, obviously whoever wrote this. So in a way, this is the Korn version of Taylor's Ronin. Sure. You said that, not me, but sure. Why is this on the same album of Children of the Corn, though? That's what I'm saying, man. Also, having this before All in the Family is certainly a decision. So as far as album placement, we'll see how this song stacks up against All in the Family. That's what's next. No way, fuck that. Dude, did we get Fred Durst on this? I can't, Fred, I appreciate what you've done for annoying people everywhere, but I really don't need your voice at this time. All in the Family featuring Fred Durst.
Say what?
They stole that from Taylor Swift.
Ooh. Horny motherfucker, taking over flows as the limp pimp. Need a biscuit to save this crew from John Davis. I'm gonna drop a little east side skill. You best step out. I'm all it, kid. Suck my dick, kid, like your daddy did. Who the fuck you think you're talking to? Plus your bills I'm paying. You can't eat that shit every day, Fred. Lay off the bacon. Say what? You better watch your up twice. Throwing rhymes at me like, oh shit, alright. Vanilla ice. You better run while you can.
What?
Can never fuck me up, this Slim. Get ass off a new grill. Your pumpkin pie, I'll jack off in your eye. Climbing chutes and ladders while your ego shatters. But you just can't get away. Because it's doomsday, kid. It's doomsday. So I hate you. Springer, your favorite band is Swinger, and all you eat is zingers. You're like a fruity pebble, your favorite flag is Rebel. It's just too bad that you're a faggot on a lower level. Come on, hillbilly, can your horse do a fucking willy? You love it down south, and boy, you sure do got a pretty mouth. Say what? Say what?
Yeah. What? So, like, at first, I'm like, oh, okay. It's like going back to, like, getting made fun of, but trying to keep it, trying to pick themselves up a little bit, right? They're getting made fun of, they're getting called freak, they're getting called, words that I'm not gonna say. But then, so it's like, oh, well, I hate you, John. Yeah, well, fuck you, Fred. I hate you too, buddy. And so they just made a diss track to each other while still being friends. I will say, you use certain words for effect, and that's fine, and I won't completely disregard choice words, as I like to say them. However, this one didn't land for me as much. I hear you tweeting on them, and then this. I've never heard this once before in my life. That's kind of funny. It's kind of funny, and get it because you blow on it. So it makes sense, but still, like nothing else worked on this one, especially after the most heavy, gruesome, disgusting situation explained in the last song, which is obviously very traumatizing for, I'm assuming John is his name, the lead singer here, songwriter. And then you go into this. This is a last song kind of thing. You make the album, you're like, hey, Fred, you want to be on the album? Sure, buddy, I'd love to. Yeah, this was not placed correctly at all. We do have a snippet from the song's Wikipedia page. So, quote, in retrospect, the band has expressed regret about the song. 2015, John Davis, would refer to the song as the dumbest fucking track Korn ever did. Is this as stupid as it gets? Is this as stupid as it gets? I really hope it is. Attributing the song to excessive drugs and alcohol consumed during the album's production, Davis would later reiterate this in a statement describing it as the worst song ever. I didn't think that there would be a worse song than Children of the Corn, but this one's way worse. This one's way worse. At least it sounds like Ice Cube's having fun in Children of the Corn, and that's like it's corny, right? But this one's just, it was just like, hey, I'm gonna call you gay, and then you call me gay. Hey, we'll be calling each other gay. You know what? It does work as a palate cleanser from that last song. It does make me forget all about the last song. So in that sense,
it's good shit, pal.
It does serve a certain purpose. Okay, moving on. Reclaim My Place. Please reclaim your place in being a good album. Because for a second it was.
To hate really isn't me or is it fate? Give me peace or release for fuck's sake. Give them something to say, something super blind. Take my ass off, got into this band. Never thought the band would pick on the man.
The bass.
So I look around at all these stupid little faces. Something I can never slap, but I embrace. You'll never ever see. What the fuck?
So, after that last song, this song might as well be the best song on the whole fucking album. I think that A-Lid summed it up pretty well here. This album is so inconsistent in its quality, it reminds me of my psychotic break from the other year. But yeah, I'm going through so many emotions listening to this album. Because on one hand, it's like, this is a song that I never knew existed or that needed to exist and probably doesn't need to exist. And then we get back to just Korn being Korn and like being like good and doing interesting things in the production. And they're slapping the ever living shit out of the bass. Who's my man on bass? Who's on first, right? Fieldy. If it's the same bassist, he's known as Fieldy. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Fieldy. You know, I don't think it's usually the focal point of all of these tracks, but I mean, without that bass just looming in the background or being very upfront in sections of these songs. So again, it goes back to their composition choices on, you know, how to voice their instruments. So if you're unaware, voicing an instrument is basically like how you play the instrument, where, you know, you can strum a guitar or you can, you know, palm mute it, or you can kind of bend the string a little bit, where here, you know, there's tons of different ways you can play the bass. You can palm mute a bass, or you can slap the bass, right? And that's kind of the sound you're getting at here. Just like it's kind of twangy and kind of metallic, because, you know, you are hearing the fret kind of, or you are hearing the string kind of bounce off the fret or the pickups there. Yeah. Features on this album have not proven to be very good. Everything else, for the most part, is. Next up, we got Justin. This was like one of my favorite ones on the album. I'm gonna keep it real with you. So earlier we had made reference to Taylor Swift's Ronin, written about, you know, a young person of the same name who was gone well before their time, and somebody said it here that no, this one's really the Ronin of Korn's discography, and it is in more than one way, because this one's called Justin. So I guess the story behind this one was that a kid who was terminally ill wanted to meet Korn. And so, you know, he's kind of going through, like, wanted to meet me, like why? You know, like we're just Korn. We do songs with Fred Durst. Like, why would you want to meet me? You know, and, you know, wishing that, you know, they had their strength, because, you know, here's John, you know, making songs with Fred Durst, and here's Justin fighting for his goddamn life. So just kind of reliving that moment there. And again, it's not fun, which is kind of in the theme of a lot of the lyrical content, but the song very much is. That main riff is fantastic. The slower verses here don't really get me as much. This breakdown was awesome. It threw me off of time. So they're doing some weird time signature shit. I don't know if it's time signature shit here or just like timing and half tempo. And then towards the end of the song, they drop the tempo during this section just to speed it back up. So again, all of my positive critiques on the composition have been ringing true. this one much more just like a focus on that than I think maybe some of the bass elements or production elements that I may have brought up in the past. I find it's all just like extremely creative. Just all of these switch ups, kind of break your neck when you least expect it. The original physical release features 25 tracks. Holy shit! The album starts with 12 silent tracks, each 5 seconds in length. Combined, they represent a minute of silence for Justin, the subject matter of the identically titled track. Another pull from the album's wiki. So yeah, that's actually, I mean that's cool that they, you know, gave that nod there. Moving on. Seed. Oh God.
A certain place, a place I wish I'd stay. Why need this fade? Every time, goddamn, I look at my side, I see something I can't pay. You kept falling carefree, that's how I used to be.
I mean, this was everything that I've kind of pegged Korn for being thus far. Every element of what I've said is true here. I won't belabor the point too much. But lyrically, you know, this one works for me. What my interpretation of this is, I don't think it's that hard to get. You know, he's looking at his children, seeing them as beautiful, innocent, free, you know, of all the troubles that, you know, an adult has as you can kind of continue on through life, and, you know, looking within yourself and using that as introspection to go, where did I screw up? How did I, you know, end up being some goddamn fucking freak? End quote. Referring to your kids as seed? Maybe not. Spawn would have been fine, but that doesn't really rhyme as well with bee or carefree. You know what I mean? See, I feel like seed's the, you know, preamble. But other than that, yeah, no. At first I was worried that I wasn't going to clock a lot of these lyrics, but they hit me a little bit harder than I think, you know, the closest contemporary that we've reacted to on the channel would have been Linkin Park, where, you know, those first two records, I think now that, you know, we're enough through this one, those first two Linkin Park records are way more accessible than this is. But I've been able to get a lot more out of the lyrics in a lot of these songs, rather than, or, you know, besides the Durst thing. Referring to your offspring other than your child is icky. Well, I you know, they're trying to make you uncomfortable, I think, is kind of some of the appeal to Korn. So calling it the seed, it tracks. So it's not something that's like entirely so off-brand for them. It's certainly a choice to use that word. Yeah, well, consider me uncomfortable. Yeah. All right. Anyway, we're moving on. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh. Cameltosis. 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 Featuring Slim Kid 3. Whatever happened to the other two?
The tempo and bangs, no shame to spark, turned into flames. Nipples in the park, just dancing in the rain. Hook me with this fix and look to drain my aim. Some never retain what will suck from your veins.
You see this time, I cannot ever love another cunt. You drink and slow, love twice and you'll get by.
Till I realize who the fuck I am. A man out of sync with his own program. Trying to find some kind of inner link. A man out of sync with his own program. Trying to find some kind of inner link.
This time, I cannot ever love another cunt. You drink and slow, love twice and you'll get by. Cunt. You drink and slow, love twice and you'll get by.
Oh, the cops are coming. I want to fly away with my ears. I'm all for collaboration with artists collaborating and, you know, trying out different things and in the spirit of creativity, in the spirit of art. I want Korn to never work with another soul beyond themselves again, because I can respect a lot of the themes and even the direction that they're going in a lot of these songs from a lyrical standpoint. And it's all very consistent. It might be a little challenging, it might be uncomfortable, but look, if you set the tone, I can accept that. I can compartmentalize that. That's fine, and it's been working because I think it's been consistent, because the production is so good, because the composition is so good, because the switch ups, you know, wig me out and I lose my balance, and it's making it interesting to listen to. However, there are 3 songs on this album that suck. I mean, it's got to be one of those things where I just had to be there. I had to have been, you know, prefrontal lobe when this came out, which technically I was, but I wasn't able to remember anything when this album came out. Look, I'm just going to say this right here. These 2 lines. This is about some of the dumbest lyrics I've ever read in my entire life. This is just edgy for edgy's sake right here, which sucks because, like, a lot of this album I'm really enjoying. But then they do this, and I'm like, I can't. What the fuck is this? I don't know if this was like, okay, well, we got like a rapper on, so we need to make it fun. We need to make it edgy. We need to make it shocking. But like you've handled like other things with either a lot of grace or just the way that like that signature Korn sound and that way of delivering, you know, themes of depression, of guilt, of like nightmarish shit. And then you come at me with this, and I have trouble taking you seriously. You know, and you know, if we look back on All in the Family, you know, from that Wikipedia page, John says, "We regret the song. It's the stupidest song of all time. We were fucked up on drugs. We didn't know what we were thinking." I can take that and I can appreciate that, but it sucks that like I gotta just wrap this song up in a bow and say, you know, hope like I'm glad you're sober now, or I hope you're sober now, because this just ain't it. And like, you know, this is having lady problems when you're a guy. They could have handled this so much better, and as I think they have in other songs. You know, I mean, I'm glad they've never played Pretty live. I don't know how you play that song to a bunch of admiring fans, you know, but that was something that you needed to get out. That was part of your artistic process. And hopefully that helped you cope with those things, like in Pretty, you know, and I can see that as something that is worthwhile. It you don't like to think about it, but it's human experience at the end of the day. This sucks. This was terrible. 30 seconds. I don't know if I've ever given up on a song as fast as I have with this one. But the next song's probably going to be great. It's probably going to get an air horn. It's probably going to get an applause because of how this album is unlike any other album. Maybe Korn is like any other band. The only thing stopped me from putting this album along with Living Things was the production and the memory of the first 3 songs. The hits on this album are fantastic. The production is great. The composition is great. The themes aren't great to think about, but someone's got to talk about them. You know, hopefully that helps somebody else get through their bad time. Like you couldn't have put this on a bonus edition. Like there's 14 tracks. You could have taken out these 3 features, had 11 tracks on an album, and had a perfectly long enough album. 2 songs left. Both over 6 minutes. Oh my God. It's I know there's not features. It's probably just going to be Korn. I'm probably going to like it, but I'm so exhausted. At this point, I'm like so exhausted. It doesn't look like we have any more features, but we got 2 pretty long songs. So let's strap in. This is My Gift to You. So there's a couple things that I would have liked a little bit better in this one. One, more bagpipes. We love bagpipes. That was kind of fucking crazy to even think about including them into this album, but it was also kind of crazy to even think about incorporating a Fred Durst into this album at all. So that's one thing. MW says here in the chat, can't imagine what he wrote based off his second marriage, and then in parentheticals, where it looks like he got a restraining order on her, then she passed away from an overdose. So like I don't know what it's like to get a restraining order on a partner and then they die. And so maybe this is a play on, you know, unresolved feelings, just for the sake of being dark, to be provocative, as some people have said here in the chat, just for the sake of it. Which, like, I feel like I've been apologizing for a lot of that here, because, I mean, like, it's metal. It's not going to be happy. You know, we listen to, like, Bring Me the Horizon and talking about, you know, dogs defecating glass, which is, like, crazy. but it really puts an image into your head. But like a lot of the other songs that, bring up, nothing short of necrophilia, but I guess short of it, there is like a certain progression that happens where, if the story of it's kind of unclear, you do understand what it is by the end of the song, at least to me. Whereas this, it's just kind of like saying the same shit over and over again. I'm glad he stopped talking about his crotch. He showed some real restraint by only mentioning his crotch one time. So for like 7 minutes, I guess, devotion to accuracy. The song was a response to John's then girlfriend at the time. She'd asked him why he had never sung any songs about how much he loved her. Jonathan later had a dream about unaliving her, and well, you get the rest. Well, I mean, if I gotta say anything about it, the human condition and human experience is one of great wonder and confusion to me. I've heard good death metal before with some dark as hell stuff. The writing is pretty bad regardless of topic. Yeah, this one just I saw what it was trying to do, I guess. It's a little bit harder when it is spoken in the first person. Or if it's like, referring to like a movie or something, or like a book, or like something true crime, where you're putting yourself like in those shoes, like for the song, where it's like, okay, like that's because that's actually something that's fucking scary. This is something that's fucking scary, right? Somebody kind of going through the psychology of what it's like to do with a dead body. Yeah, actually, no, that's a great point. Ethel Cain did this subject far better, let's be honest. Well, because she spun this narrative over time to where, we cared about the protagonist and then eventually saw their downfall. And that was written in the second person, I've seen it well done before through the eyes of a murderer sort of stuff. This just had some really terrible lines. Just like the whole crotch thing. Kind of respect black orgasms, but again, maybe you could rephrase that a little differently. I don't know, man. I'm last song.
Oh, gotta get a Mexican on the black and white. Is that what it is? It's course. Like an in-between thing. Like,
I didn't know
I'm
that.
not black, I'm not white.
Where's the switch?
I'm
Carlos.
No.
Carlos.
Hey, now you can do it on command.
You know as well as you do. Call him whatever you want. Tacos. I don't want to give Kako his name. A barbecue, and he goes, "Oh, you want to go to Taco?"
Órale.
Oh!
And I'll make a lot of money. I own you. You do. You're free.
The firm is a fucking
So I don't really want to get up. I'll be honest with you. So in all fairness, this was a secret track, and it's a cover of Cheech and Chong, which I like Cheech and Chong. People enjoy Cheech and Chong, and I'm one of those people. Putting it as a bonus track, secret track, right after the necrophilia song, I am so glad this album is over. Oh my God. So with all that said, it's been a while since I've been absolutely bewildered by an album. In a way, I am really glad I picked this album. This was everything I wanted. If nothing else, give me something memorable. Give me something I won't forget. You can't forget this one. So like I said, at the top of the reaction, I had listened to at this point a decent swath of what is considered nu metal. I made reference to Limp Bizkit, all that, right? I didn't expect it to be so similar from things that I had heard from Limp Bizkit as far as like the rhythm section, right? Between the bass and the drums. Not real like metal drumming. So it's definitely like pop drumming, right? Like hip hop drumming. But through most of it, John's vocals were pretty sick. I did like those. And I gotta be honest with you. There's about let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 14 songs. So I would say 9 tracks on this album, legitimately fantastic. Did not know Korn had it like that. I did not know the level of which they voice their instruments. Fieldy on the fucking bass deserves the world and more. The compositions, the production, all of it was so fucking solid. And you're giving me these dark themes of death and violation and all of that, and that's fine. It's metal. I kind of knew that they were, darker kind of guys. So that would track. I can allow space for that within context. I can compartmentalize that. The issue that I have is the complete breakdown of pacing and tone that the featured tracks give us. And it's not even like there's 1, 2, or 3, or that it's like one fucking line, but they're entire songs that just get longer. Some real questionable collabs around some real questionable topics and done real questionable. I can allow an artist to make a dumb fucking song, put it at the end, make it a single, hang out with your buddies. You always wanted to work with Ice Cube? I would like to work with Ice Cube. Hit me up. We could do something over Zoom. It seems like that's what you did with War of the Worlds. That's fine. You want to work with Fred Durst. He's a contemporary of yours. You guys love each other so much that you just made a song about how much you hate each other. Fine, I guess. It's a little in-joke between the two of you. Doesn't really work well for me. Cameltosis, while objectively a hilarious fucking name, it just took me out of it again. And while I did like a lot of the lyricism and the progression of the lyrics of like the tiny narratives that we got, whether it was Justin or for really like pretty dead bodies everywhere, I was able to, at least see it as, an extension of human experience, the unfortunate aspects of it. But then like Seed was like, I wouldn't call my kid Seed. But like, it's edgy, it's uncomfortable. That's kind of your wheelhouse. I honestly can't allow that. It's art, whatever. The My Gift to You was like really like the only Korn song that I was like, stop, please. It just 7 minutes, no hook. If it's 7 minutes and it's a ballad, like that's like slow or something like that, I can get into this like necrophiliac character. But like you're still giving me tinges of everything that we listened to before, and I'm like not gonna head bob to it. And Cameltosis is the best collab. You're right. So this is really a mixed bag. I know there's some people in the chat that really fucking hate this. I didn't hate all of it. There is some good there. Maybe this was the wrong Korn album for me to start out with because the features sucked. Okay, all right. Maybe I should backpedal though. Maybe I should backpedal. The songs themselves could be used as like, hey, this is funny. This is shocking. This is shock humor, or this is just to get a rise out of people, and like whatever. That's your bag. Don't put them in between all the other stuff, because it really gets in the way of me trying to take the project as a whole seriously. And I think without the Cheech and Chong cover, without Cameltosis, without All in the Family, without Korn, I think you have something that's either pretty decent or iconic for its era. You know, it doesn't take away from Got the Life, Freak on a Leash, It's On, Dead Bodies Everywhere, just these songs that were just absolute ass beaters. They beat ass. Really love the instrumentation all around for the most part. And you know what? And I said that the lyrics and the features weren't great. The tone was completely different. It's still produced very, very, very well. So they had a great team, but there's a point to where creative choices for the sake of creativity go a little too far. I'm looking to discover music through new eyes, right? To let you watch this video and see me react to your favorite artists through new eyes again, to see what my interpretations are, to see what my reaction to it is. I did not expect it to roll out the way that it did. So as far as content's concerned, this is one of the best albums ever made. It really is. I wouldn't be opposed to listening to more Korn, especially if there's like something that's considered like objectively better, because the features really take this album down for me. If I can get a copy of this album with like, you know, I can stand my gift to you as just being the, okay, we got to end a song, or like we got to end the album. So here it is. Keep that one on, I guess. Get rid of all the features. Get rid of the Cheech and Chong thing. Bing, bada, boom. I think you got a pretty decent thing going for you here. I really do. Remove the lyrics and the vocals. You have a perfect soundtrack to a bloody first-person shooter game from 1999 and got generally positive reviews and moderate commercial success. I really love the beginning from memory. I mean, the album starts... I mean, the first 4 tracks were great. The first 4 tracks were awesome. And this is really the definition of they had us in the first half. Because, I mean, you saw me low in the chair. I was just so exhausted. I think, emotionally, physically. I mean, Death Consciousness, we reacted to that here on the channel. Not happy-go-lucky at all. Exhausted me physically and emotionally, but in, like, the best way possible. Its direction and tone and progression were so consistent and clear, and the amateurish nature of some of the songs, of some of the production, added to its eeriness. Whereas this was a little bit of simulation overload through all of the sounds and ideas, and I just get completely whiplashed by some of these other songs, and I'm like, what the fuck? Iconic, unforgettable. I can't say that it's a good... Can I say it's a good album? I don't know. I mean, I have a smile on my face, so I enjoyed the journey. I really did, but man, is it a journey. So that was my reaction to Follow the Leader by Korn, a truly unforgettable experience for me, and I hope that this video, you watching me react to this album, was an unforgettable experience for you. If you want me to react to any other Korn album, or you tell me why picking this one as my first was the wrong idea, please let me know down in the comments. Also, let me know if my interpretations were bad, great, did I have an open heart, was I too harsh on the features? I don't think so. Actually, if you tell me I was too harsh on the features, no, that's just not going to happen. If you want to catch this reaction along with pretty much every other video that I've done reacting to albums, go ahead and check out my Patreon where you can get exactly that for $1. Or if you want to be in these credits, there's another tier for that, and it gives you some other exclusive content as well. But with that being said, holy shit, we got to the end of the video. I'm Jerry Bees. You've been awesome. Take it easy.
Diggity dog. Breaking. Diggity dog. Shark.